Hello and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and third-person blueprint course. In the last lesson we went over the basics of material setup, and now we actually are going to make use out of that knowledge to set ourselves up with a nice landscape material for this area. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go onto the content browser. We're going to locate the landscape folder over here. And I'm wondering where we could put it in. We can probably create ourselves a new folder for that. We'll just go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and create a new one called landscape material, like so. Going to go into it and we're going to right click, create ourselves a new folder. We can call this one landscape mat. Keep the naming to the convention. So I'll go ahead and go all the way to the front and keep it m underscore landscape, like so. We're going to go into it by double click on it, and first thing that we need to do is we got to make sure we set this up as a landscape material. So the way we're going to do it is we need to make sure that this is set as material attributes. Set this as material attributes. What you want to do is make sure you have this selected, and you want to go and locate the use material attributes icon over here within its details tab. Then go ahead and select it, and it'll turn this into material attributes which landscape uses. The next thing that we need to do is basically grab the landscape material setup. We're going to right click, we're going to search for landscape, and we're going to find ourselves a landscape layer blend. That's the one that we need to make use out of, and we're going to connect it to the material attributes. By default, it's going to give us errors. The reason being is that it has nothing within it just yet. So with this node selected, we're going to go into the layers tab. We're going to increase the elements, and we're going to add a couple of them like so. And these indexes basically allow you to add material attributes, which we can use to blend materials within landscape. We're going to just simply open this up, and we can change for sawdust the layer's name. We're going to call the first one, the original one, sand, like so. And we're going to open ourselves a second one and call the second one something like tiles. I think that's quite all right. And that's pretty much it. We just need to change the blend type from weight blend to be a height blend, and this will give us a nicer transition between the materials. So let's go ahead and do that, like so. And you can see it opens itself with not only just one input, it opens up with the height input for the sand as well, for example. And that includes for the tiles actually as well. So yeah, we're going to now make sure we set ourselves up with material attribute. So we're going to make this window quite a bit smaller. We're going to the content folder, and we're going to find ourselves the materials that we're looking for. So it's going to be Megascans, surfaces, and dry sand. We're going to just drag and drop these textures like so into the section. We're going to grab a stone wall as well. Grab this and drop this in here as well. We're going to expand this now since we are done with that. We're going to basically set it up in a nicer type of an order, like so. And now we're going to go ahead and set this up as material attribute. We can't simply plug these into the outputs over here, into the inputs that is. We need to go ahead and right click, and we need to find a node called make material attributes. So that's the one over here, make material attributes. Let's go ahead and add this in, and you can see we need to combine the textures and set it up as material node. So for us to do that, we're going to we're going to grab the base color and add it onto the base color like so. And the second one is going to be, this one is a normal. Let's go ahead and add this to the normal value over here. And this one is a bit more of an interesting one. If we actually, I'll go ahead and double click on it to show you what I mean. If we were to double click on it, you can see the naming is the last letters are going to be underscore ORDP. That means basically, based on the names convention, occlusion, then roughness, and then DP stands for depth. So these are basically combined into one texture. All of this is set into different channels, and these are based in the same exact order. So occlusion is going to be set as red, then DP is going to be, well, the last one is going to be depth, and the middle one is going to be roughness. So if we were to check it, for example, red for occlusion, that's what we get. The green one is going to be roughness, and finally this is the depth map, which is going to be used for blending in the values. So yeah, that's pretty much it in regards to the explanation. We're going to go ahead and make use out of that. We can always hover over and remind ourselves with the name itself. So occlusion is going to be red, and I'm just going to add it like so. Green is going to be roughness, and finally the depth is going to go right into the channel itself like so. We're going to basically connect this material attribute to the layer sand like so. We're going to make a new material attribute over here, do the same basically for the stone. We're going to right click, make material attribute like so, and select this. Redo the same step basically, and this goes to the normal. And this I'm going to just remind myself, occlusion goes first, then roughness, and then depth goes in here. So not depth, height can be used as a depth, so that's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and combine it like so. And there we go. We can now go ahead and save it out. So for this type of setup, we need to grab ourselves a scale based on a world scale. So we're going to search for world position. We're going to grab it like so. And if we were to open ourselves up, in the new version, it has its own type of setup. Usually, it would just have XYZ and you'd have to set it up like so. So in a version 5.1, if you had it previously, it would just have one, which you would have to basically use component mask to split it up like so. But as you can see over here, we have just X and Y. That's exactly what we're looking for. We're just going to bring this outwards, and we're actually going to just divide it first. Divide it by 1,000 like so. Then use a multiplier and set it up like so. The multiplier value, we're going to leave it as is for now. We're just going to bring all of this into the UVs. I'm not going to bother changing all of this to a material instance or anything of the sort. I'm not going to overcomplicate it, and I'll just keep it simple for the sake of this project, since it's going to give us some nice results regardless. So yeah, after we're done with this, let's go ahead and just click Ctrl and S to save it out. And yeah, let's check what it's going to look like. We're going to go back onto the content browser, landscape material. This is what we created. We're now going to apply this onto the landscape material like so. And it's going to be pitch black. The reason being is that it should basically, we need to set it up with weight painting itself. So for us to do that, we're going to go on to selection, landscape, and we're going to go on to paint tab over here. And we should be able to start preparing the shaders and whatnot. And there we go. We got ourselves layers at the very bottom. If you're not seeing this, just make sure to refresh this and reapply the material itself. Sometimes it doesn't pop up in this section, but afterwards we just need to make sure we create our own layers. So for us to do that, we're just going to create weight painting for this section. So we're going to click on this layer, create a weight painting with based on normal, like so. We're going to just save it in the whichever folder it creates by default, basically shared assets. That's okay. Going to do the same thing for the normal, like so. And there we have it. So basically the first time we did it, it'll automatically upload, place the entire section of the material onto our terrain, which is looking pretty nice. The second time is basically going to be the one that we'll be able to control later down the line. But for now though, let's go ahead and check how it looks like in regards to the scale. So we can go back onto our material. And if we want to adjust the scale of itself, we can make use out of this multiplier over here. The reason we divide it by 1,000 usually because the value of the world is usually so small that it's quite hard to work with. So usually I just divide it by 1,000 and work with this value multiplier instead. So I think the default value is actually going to look quite nice. Maybe we can slightly make it better. So I'm going to change it maybe to a 2. See how this would look like. I'm going to click Ctrl and S. And yeah, usually you'd want to set it up with a material that's a bit nicer in regards to the overall setup, as we'd want to set it up with material instance perhaps. But if we know more or less what kind of a scale we want, that's not going to be an issue, because the loading times, you can see every time we save something out, it takes a while to prepare and change up the shaders. I'm going to keep this value to a value of 0.2. And as for the stone, I'm not quite sure just yet, but since we're running out of time, we're going to continue on with this in the next lesson. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in a bit.